Kia ora and welcome, Graham Smith from ALEC here. This presentation takes you through what you need to know about Assessment Task 5. This is for Section 5 of the NCALNE VOC. The content here is to do with delivering your embedded literacy and numeracy training outcomes. This of course relates to the idea of knowing what to do. Here's our big picture of the course, the qualification, representing the baseline knowledge for embedding literacy and numeracy. So just a quick heads up again, so you can see where you're up to. We've tracked through sections 1 through to 4, now we're up to section 5. So you're currently working on task 5, the assessment 5, around embedding literacy and numeracy. This is all about knowing what to do. This is the third section in the TEC triangle. So far we've been through knowing the demands, knowing the learner, and now knowing what to do. So what do you actually need to do? This is really the teaching practice side of this qualification, and we have a template like we do for everything that will help you plan and record what you're doing here. So 3 critical things to make sure you do. You need to plan and record your literacy and numeracy learning outcomes. These are your training interventions, contextualized for your particular trade or vocational area. You need to record the teaching strategies that you use. Another word for teaching strategies is instructional strategies. And you need to record the activities and the resources that you use. And these may be things that you've adapted, maybe things that you've created yourself. In terms of the activities, for the unit standard, which is Unit Standard 21204, you need to cover at least 8 literacy and numeracy activities. And it breaks down like this: 2 activities for reading, 2 activities for writing, 2 activities for listening and speaking, and 2 activities for numeracy. Of course, you can do more than this, but this is the minimum that we need in order to be able to sign off on this in the unit standard. A couple of things to remember. You need to work with at least 2 learners. This is about creating or adapting resources, so you're welcome to create your own resources or go to the learning progressions, the support material there, and use that as a starting point to adapt or come up with your own versions of those. You need to document your delivery. Now, one of the easiest ways to do that for us is to use a digital camera and photograph your learners doing these activities, photograph your resources. Much better for us to get a digital image of this evidence rather than for you to send in big piles of things that you could actually be using with your learners as well. Templates of things that you create that you can send to us electronically, that's great as well. Make sure you document the whole process basically. We covered diagnostic assessment in the last assessment task, but this may actually be the place where you're doing that mini literacy numeracy pre and post assessment, so make sure that's built in. These mini diagnostics are things that you've made, and they measure the very specific literacy and numeracy skills that you're focusing on. So the idea is that you're assessing before and after your teaching interventions. So easy way of remembering it: test, teach, test. Like it says here on the slide, what you're doing in this task, what you're doing in this assessment for us is your teaching practice, and these activities and things that you're doing in your teaching, these are your explicit literacy and numeracy teaching interventions. The pre-test, post-test material, these mini diagnostics, easy way to remember what they're like is think of them as bookends. So don't forget to bookend your teaching with these pre and post assessments. And the evidence for these pre and post assessments relates to tasks 4 and task 6. The idea is that they're just wrapped around your embedded teaching, which is task 5. Make sure you build in an evaluation component, and the evaluation of your embedded project work is really task 7, but you need to be thinking about it now. So give your learners a chance to feed back to you after these training sessions, and you can ask them simple questions, or you can get a colleague to come in and do this for you. But one very simple way to get some evaluation information from your learners is just to get them to answer 3 simple questions. What worked? What was challenging? What could you do to make it better or improve it next time around? So what we're trying to achieve here is to give you the opportunity to go and do some embedded literacy and numeracy training, to build in some literacy and numeracy interventions in your context, in your trade and your vocational training that you do. That's the point of it. This particular assessment, task 5, you need to think of it as part of a package deal. So tasks 4, 5, 6 and 7, they all work together. Task 4 is your pre-assessment or your diagnostic. Task 5, this one, it's about the delivery. Task 6, that's the post-assessment. It's about measuring your learners' progress. More on that shortly. And task 7, of course, is the evaluation. It's looking back and trying to work out what's worked well, what was effective and what wasn't, and then looking forward to the future and thinking, what might you do next time? That's it in a nutshell. Thanks for listening. Kia ora.